I'll give instances from Burned, the film that we screened today, of how I have witnessed storytelling in action, which is Diane Cotter, the main character in this film, the person who was directly impacted. Had she not decided to start talking to people, we wouldn't be sitting here. This film has now screened 13,000 plus places worldwide since our release just a couple of months ago. I've seen multiple representatives across the US now start to draft legislation to create either state or even federal changes for PFAS. Again, it's all just because, quote unquote, a crazy firewife on social media decided to type in all caps, hey, there's chemicals killing firefighters.
Can you talk a little bit, you all are obviously very well acquainted with the issue, you know people that have been impacted. I want you to talk a little bit about how you felt watching Burned, and how it has changed or impacted how you think we should be moving forward as a community, as a country.
I guess from living in the firefighter community, it's not surprising to us at all. I think what's the most discouraging is really trying to get support and feedback from those that could actually help us, legislatively, litigation, so we're looking at all these. As Chief made a statement, and it was on the film as well, when it stated 66% of line of duty deaths were attributable to cancer with firefighters. It's now 74%. And it's going to continue to rise until we do something to eliminate this. I think it was stated earlier too, initially when we signed on, when I did in '87, knew the likelihood of cancer was significantly higher than the general population. But it was our belief then that it was from the byproducts of combustion. And then to find out that the very gear is what's killing us, probably more so than those byproducts. And there's also on the AFFF phone, that's a big thing right now, and a lot of discussion on it. In my 24 years, we trained with it, annually at the very least, and basically took baths in that stuff for hours at a time. And so, it's the educational aspect of this film I think is going to have a huge impact, not only on the general public, but even our own members, to get them to open their eyes.
Sadly, kind of like Joe said, it's something that we all know in the fire service. There's several firefighters out in the crowd right now. We know that, you're probably going to get cancer, like the gentleman in the film said, but we understand it's a higher risk, but it's something that we accept because firefighting is a calling. It's a lifestyle to us.
When I came on, it was standard and normal that people would wear that gear all the time. They would, it was like a badge of honor to have the dirty gear on, wearing it around the fire station. We have progressively gotten much better, and certainly we have it as a standard now. That gear only goes on when you absolutely have it. Representative Kilcarney came to me several years ago in Frankfurt saying, hey, we need to make this stuff illegal. I said, I wish we could, but we don't have another option. Right now, it's the only thing that we have to protect us in fires, so we do need the gear. But we're being really good about making sure our members only wear it when absolutely necessary, keep it clean as possible to get all the other carcinogens off it, and to keep it out of our living areas, our eating areas. Like I said, 20 years ago, it was standard for people to be standing around in the kitchen in that gear, cooking dinner, eating, and it was because the fact is it's kind of comfortable. When you're out on a cold run, it's warm. It insulates really well off that fire. It also holds in your heat when it's cold outside. But so yeah, we're making every bit of progress that we can, and really that's led by the fire service itself, trying to protect each other. But yeah, we need some help from industry out there to come up with a new gear that will protect us.
So many things that I want to talk about. For 6 years, I've been really focused on PFAS research, which I hate that word, by the way. I think PFAS is a terrible word, and I say this as a chemist. Forever chemicals, much better term, right? You kind of remember it. It also avoids this misconception that PFAS is one individual thing. Forever chemicals represent 12,000 plus individual chemicals. It's technically an infinite number of things. It just describes a type of chemical. So a PFAS, right, is defined by basically organic fluorine. That's like a simplistic way to look at it. Organic meaning it's a carbon-based molecule and there are some fluorines bound to it. And the reason we use them in so many products, well, mostly because we were told that they would be useful. But the benefit is carbon-fluorine bonds are super electronegative and basically they repel things. And so that's why you can have a Teflon pan that's really easy to clean, or you can have a Gore-Tex jacket that water just beads off of it. Unfortunately, that exact same chemistry is where the toxicological harm seems to come from, as well as the fact that they persist forever. Carbon-fluorine bond is like a super crazy bond. It's extremely unique, and it should have been treated with a lot more care.
That there's been always a lot of pushback when it comes to toxicology studies, especially with working in the lab, that well, you're using such high doses, so obviously you will see cancer. So we've been trying to address that issue. We go to the lab now and we design these doses that reflect human exposure levels, and I have to say we still see toxic effects. So so there's really a lot of problems when it comes to these forever chemicals, because it's not just, you're exposed one day and you're good. I mean, it's there in your drinking water, so even if it's low dose or low level of exposure, you're constantly being exposed. They're always there in your body, and over time, they can bioaccumulate and increase in the body burden. I think there's research going on now into looking at replacement chemicals, and when I say replacement chemicals, I don't mean just Gen X or PFAS, which is, these shorter chain PFASs, but actually replacements that don't have those fluorocarbon bonds that, the PFASs have. So looking at detergents or proteins, so there's research going on in terms of that, and I think that's going to be, help us 30 years from now into not falling into the same issue again, and, help solve and make the world a more sustainable world for our children. Yeah.
You've heard today through this film, very profound film, about one area affecting Kentuckians, affecting Americans, affecting people all over the world who protect people from fires, emergency situations, environmental spills, everything else, but all kinds of PPE infused, if you will, with these chemicals. But that's not the story. That's not the whole story. This is more than a local problem, more than a state problem, more than a national problem. It is a worldwide problem. We have for many, many years, probably since the 30s, seen manufacturers put these chemical compounds, 200 plus, the list keeps growing, into all sorts of materials that we utilize every day. And I think someone said in the film, it's in all our bodies. That's true. It's a challenge unlike any we've ever seen. This is going to be bigger than PCBs, bigger than mercury, bigger than asbestos. Go down the list. It's bigger than anything we've ever seen, and it is going to cost a lot of money. So please, talk to your legislators, talk to your local community activists, talk to any politician when you can get their ear, because we're all going to need help to clean this up.